Hi,
Hello,
how's it
everyone.
going?
Doing good, yeah. Had a
Good.
great Monday here on campus.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy to be home and I'm not on campus anymore.
Oh, good for you, yeah.
My name's Olivia Jones, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am a fourth year communication studies student. I am a member of Polyreps, so we are the official university ambassadors and tour guides on campus. So you may have got a tour from one of us, or hopefully will in the future if you're interested in Cal Poly. And obviously, I lived in the dorms my freshman year, so I've had some experience on that front. And yeah, I'm really excited to bring this conversation to all of you today. Clinton, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Clinton. I'm a fourth year architecture major with a theater arts minor. I use pronouns he, him, his. I'm originally from San Diego, California. So if we got anyone from SoCal, welcome. Glad to have you, as long as, in addition to everyone else as well. I've been a housing ambassador, which is kind of the same thing as the poly reps, just on the housing side. And I've been doing that since my freshman year. And kind of taking the lead position with that group now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome. Happy to have you. Like I said, today we'll be going through dorm life, residential learning communities, the different dorm styles, and yeah, just kind of introducing you to Cal Poly housing. So, Clinton, do you want to kind of talk about the general way that housing works at Cal Poly, whether that's, um, being in the dorms and the freshman experience or transfer experience?
sure. Yeah, we'll start off kind of at the beginning with your application and even your admissions application as well. So you'll send that application to hopefully be accepted by Cal Poly. And if you are, then hopefully you'll accept the letter of admittance. And then about 2 days after that, you'll get an application from housing. And there you're going to choose your residential learning community or your RLC. And that's really going to dictate where you're going to live for your first year or your first year on campus as a transfer student. So we'll get into those RLCs a little bit, but it's important that everyone knows that you're going to be choosing this community and not choosing a building per se. And so an important thing to go off of right at the start of it is that all first years are going to be required to live on campus for their first year. And then some will be required to live on campus for their second year as well. And I can describe that right now. So if you're in the College of Architecture, what was that?
No, you my question.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be the College of Architecture and Environmental Design, the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Science, as well as the College of Engineering. In addition to that, students that are part of the Cal Poly Scholars Program and athletics will have that 2 year requirement. So first year in the residence halls, and then your second year is going to be on the on-campus apartments. And then transfer students, you're not required to live on campus for that first year, but there's an opportunity for you, and you'll most likely be placed in a Cerro Vista apartments.
Awesome. So, did you live on campus just your first year or second year? How did it work for you?
Yeah, so I lived on campus only my first year. It wasn't a requirement just for me yet. So I was in Sequoia Hall, which is one of our red brick buildings.
Ooh,
And yeah, it was a great place to be in the RLC of my college. So I was living with a bunch of architecture students as well as like construction management people. But you can always choose to live in an RLC that isn't your own if you want to be with a different group of people as well.
yeah. So I live in Trinity, so also in a red brick, and I was part of the Global Living RLC. So me and my roommate just kind of picked it because we were both potentially interested in studying abroad. And I'm from England, so I figured maybe there would be some people that are interested kind of on those global front. But honestly, for me, it didn't impact it too much. It just kind of made it so that I was with a pretty random group of people, but obviously in a good way. It was just all across majors, disciplines, so it meant that I met people that ordinarily in my classes I might not have met. So I actually really liked it in that sense.
Yeah, totally. That's why choosing an RLC that you're really interested in is an important part of it. I lived with the my own college, which was great. Got some help with homework, as well as maybe some other classes and meeting people in my classes. But as architecture goes, we kind of see too much of one another as it is. So it would have been kind of nice to choose an RLC that maybe wasn't my college or one of those interest-based ones, such as global living.
Awesome. So, were you involved in like housing as obviously you joined as a freshman? How did you kind of get into that?
Yeah, well, I kind of knew I wanted to be a tour guide of sorts and show off Cal Poly. So it came up online actually through a job finding application, and I sent it in, got an interview, and was able to become a part of the team as a freshman. And actually kind of take over as a lead my freshman year as well. So that's another thing that I'd recommend for everyone that's coming in. Like, go and check out as much as you can and try to be as involved as you can as well, because it'll lead to some great opportunities, and there's a ton of them like on campus.
Awesome. What were you in, a triple, double? What room were you in?
Yeah, I was in a double, and so all the red bricks right now are going to be doubles. So it was pretty fun. I had a random roommate as well. So some people get a little hesitant when it's random roommates because we don't have a roommate like sorting program or survey like that. But the RLCs help you kind of find someone with the same interests as well. So it was great. He was a construction management major, and we're still good friends to this day. So there's a bunch of great people on campus as well. That's something I really enjoy, are the type of people that come to Cal Poly.
Awesome. Looks like we have a question in the comments. It
Sure.
says, suggest for current freshmen to be doing about housing for next year.
Yeah, so right now we're open around 90% capacity. So you can expect to be living on campus in the residence halls for this upcoming year, which may be a little bit different than what you may have been expecting from the past 2 years. So yeah, you'll be placed in one of our residence halls, and we have 5 different communities for them.
Yeah. What would you say for people that are living in the dorms right now? Like, should they start looking for housing? When does the second year on-campus housing application open? That kind of thing.
Yeah, so for looking to go off campus, I'd say around February is a good time to start looking, maybe January if you're going for a house. Apartments seem to be a little more open off campus. On campus, I'm not exactly sure when the application will open. Usually it's around January or February as well. But if you have that second year requirement, you're guaranteed a spot in the apartments. However, if you're not, you can definitely look into that, and the application will be up there for you.
Yeah. So I also lived off campus. My second year, I lived in an apartment complex. Pretty common for second years, and it was pretty easy. Not super easy, or definitely you have to be on top of things to make sure that you don't miss out on these opportunities, especially if you want to find somewhere close to campus. But yeah, I was able to do that. And then the past 2 years, I've lived in a house right behind campus as well. So just as long as you can kind of plan and use the connections that you have, that's oftentimes where these places come up. But yeah, again, living on campus again is also a great option.
Yeah, it's a great
Okay.
way to kind of foster community and meet new people as well.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to talk more about specific residential learning communities and kind of like the idea that you don't choose where you live, you choose who you live with?
Sure. Yeah. We have 4 kind of categories of residential learning communities, or RLCs, that you can select as a first year. So there's the colleges that we kind of talked about a little bit before. We also have interest-based ones. We have like collaborative leadership as well as substance-free RLCs in that group. We also have invitational programs. So if you're a part of the Cal Poly Scholars Program or the Honors College, you're going to be living with those students. And then the last group is going to be the cultural and identity groups. We have the Black Scholars RLC as well as the Pride community. So that's kind of how it breaks down. There's about 4 different categories there with little subgroups within them. So you can check out the full list at our website at Cal Poly Housing, or housing.calpoly.
Awesome. What about the different dorm types? Kind of, maybe talk if you want to talk about like the different buildings you could potentially live in, what those would look like.
Sure, yeah, they're all very unique, which is kind of fun. There's not really one that's the best, and there's not really one that's the worst. They're all just a little bit different. So we have North Mountain, which is our oldest one, and if I could just show some pictures,
Oh, go for it.
I can do that real quick. Let's see if I can figure this out.
Okay, I'm trying to think. I think you click the, do you see the like, oh no, that's not it. I haven't done this before, but I know you can do it.
Okay, well, I'll talk through it, and then maybe if you could find
Okay.
it and show me how. Um, yeah, so we have North Mountain, which are the oldest ones. They're all going to be triples there, but they're really great because they have these large lawn spaces that your door can immediately have access to, which is a little bit different than what you'd see in other residence halls. But those are the first group. Then we have the red bricks. Those are those very traditional dormitory style living with 3 stories with 2 wings. Pretty much the ones you'd see in the movies a lot of times, and they're all at pretty much every CSU campus that we have. And then we also have the towers, which are a little bit different. There's Sierra Madre and Yosemite towers, and they're 3 stories. One of them is more of in like a donut layout, and the other one's in a figure 8 kind of style. But they're pretty cool because they have a living room space kind of right outside your door where a lot of students can gather up. I've seen students have movie nights together where they put it up on a projector and kind of hang out in that space. And then we have Yaki Tutu, which is our newest residence hall complex. And it's pretty great because it has a ton of amenities for students, whether it be like study rooms, communal kitchens, and serenity rooms. But we also have those amenities at all of our residence halls for students to use.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely, I feel like, all have their own personalities in some sense, you know? Like, there's no best or worst one because they all have their positives and negatives, I think. I know my freshman year, everybody wanted to be in the new dorms in Yakitutu. And so everyone would try and get themselves into the dorms, but there isn't really a way to do it, obviously, because those residential learning communities change around every year. And at the end of the day, it's going to be more about who you're living with rather than where you're living. And Yakitutu is often kind of far from some of your classes. So if you want to be closer, I was lucky. We were both were to be in the Red Bricks.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of right on campus. If you sleep in late one day, you can just walk down the hill and get to your class on time. So I think definitely just kind of keeping an open mind about that. I was in a triple and I found one of my roommates online through the Facebook page and we just kind of thought we would get along. So we decided to room together. And then my other roommate was a random roommate and her name was also Olivia. So there was 2 Olivias in one tiny room. And I was so worried that it was just going to be way too small or that we wouldn't like each other. But it ended up working out, and I'm still really good friends with both of them. And the random roommate I found on Facebook, I've actually lived with her ever since, and she's been my best friend at college. So you never know how
Yeah,
these are going to work out. I even had the chance to live in Yakitutu through the honors program, but I just chose to, pick a different community. So, yeah, definitely these things work out. So everyone keeps an open mind, then hopefully things will go your way.
definitely. I'd say coming in without any expectations is probably the best way, whether
Yeah,
it be with your residence hall or your roommates, because everything's going to change once you get here. And yeah, it's a good way to kind of keep an open mind rather than just have a set goal or how you think it's going to go.
yeah. Clinton, did you struggle with sharing a bathroom with so many people? I know that was like a shock for me.
A little bit. I have a younger brother, so I guess I'm used to maybe the bathroom being not the cleanest place, especially when you have a wing of boys, which is nice that custodians will come in and clean it daily in the red brick, so it never gets too bad.
Yeah,
So yeah, not really, surprisingly, but I know for some people there's kind of a little shift there, especially when you're coming from a house into this residence hall space.
yeah.
But we try to make it as accommodating as you can. I really liked how they had the lockers in the bathroom, so you wouldn't have to carry your shower caddy back and forth. You would just have easy access right there.
I agree. And then Yakitutu also has the gender inclusive bathrooms now, which is kind of cool. So they're really trying to kind of update things to be as inclusive as possible. And I know this is sometimes a concern for people, but honestly, it's so easy. And then you can see all of your friends, in the bathrooms. What other fun things did the dorms like put on? Like, how much time did you spend there? What
Yeah.
should freshmen expect for that?
Well, I feel like I didn't spend too much time in the dorms during normal school hours. Usually, you cruise back up there after class, which was really nice. Being able to go back to your room, maybe have an hour break there and just kind of relax, maybe get some food with people. So that was really nice. But for the nights and kind of afternoons there, really just hanging out with people in my room is what I did a lot of the time. Just open it up for a space for people on my wing and in my residence hall to come in and then just kind of hang out. So that was great. But also resident advisors and IHC or Inner Housing Council, they like to throw a lot of events inside of the residence halls. So I remember going to a lot of ice cream socials and like pizza parties, which were great. So you kind of got to break up your meal plan a little bit more, but also meet people within the building. So that's another thing that's really great about being on campus is, you're meeting more and more people. I'd say like almost all of my really good friends now I met in the residence halls. Yeah, and
Um,
then
I liked going to those random little fun things they had. What about food? So did you ever make food in the kitchens or did you eat on campus most of the time? Do you want to talk about dining a little bit?
sure, yeah, we do have communal kitchens in pretty much every single residence hall complex, so you can go in there and cook things if you want. I didn't necessarily do that. I really just ate at all the restaurants and cafeterias, food trucks that we have on campus. So when you come on campus, you'll have your poly card and you can use that at any one of the restaurants with your dining plan and kind of just swipe it like a debit card and track your balance and see how it's going. But I ate a lot of food over in the UU or the University Union. Right now, that's all under construction, but we just had Vista Grande Dining Complex open up, and they have a ton of great kind of restaurants on the second floor and a Jamba Juice and Marketplace on the first floor for people to go to and get some food. So that was what I did a lot of the time. Get some late night breakfast as well. I think that was my favorite thing.
It's so nice being, I mean, as a fourth year now and having to cook all of my own meals, I wish that I had that close access to food all the time. It's so nice.
I agree.
You also will get to know people through WOW or the Week of Welcome. So, one cool thing that Cal Poly does is right after you move into the dorms, you'll get a chance to get to know people that are living around you because you'll be put into a group of them and you'll do a ton of fun activities with them throughout the week. You'll have WOW leaders that are sort of sophomore, junior, senior students that want to show you around Cal Poly. And that definitely gives you a chance to immediately get to know the people around you so that you have people you can talk to through the, sometimes hard process of living away from home.
Yeah, I was actually a WoW leader myself. Yeah, and it was a great time on both ends. My best friends I met in my WoW group actually. So I guess that's kind of a cliche in sorts, but it's really true that I met some people there that I spend my days with today as well. But being a WoW leader was a little bit different of a process, but it's a great way to get out into slow and explore the city itself, but also meet people around you. So I'm really excited that we were back in person or in a hybrid sort of format this past year, and are only looking forward to going back in person for this upcoming session. But it's one of the best like orientation programs in the country, and it really makes sense why.
So we have a question. They just asked, I was wondering whether there's a tradition or class that always stuck with you. Kind of off the housing realm, but do you want to talk about like a favorite class or something that's happened at your time at Cal Poly?
Yeah, sure. I kind of bring this up from time to time. You said traditional class? Is that what I heard?
Like a or class, like some sort of fun experience you've had.
Sure. So I took one of my GEs or my like general education classes, just an English course, my freshman year, and it was kind of interesting. Coming into it, I was just like, all right, this is an English.
Clinton, I don't know if this is me. Your audio cut out for a second.
Oh yeah, I think it was my AirPod that died. Let me go grab my other one and put it in real quick.
Sounds good. Okay, well, I can talk about a fun class I've taken. Um, I took a class called script communications. the cool thing about it was that it was half engineers and half communication students. So Cal Poly really cares about making people well-rounded when they leave. So kind of played off the idea that engineers sometimes aren't the best at communicating, and then comm students aren't always the best at like design thinking or innovation skills. So they paired us together and we had to find a problem on campus, and we chose sustainability. And we actually sat outside of the University Union Starbucks, which is one of the busiest Starbucks in California. And we counted every time someone used a reusable versus a plastic cup. And the results were obviously a little bit disheartening, but we kind of all worked together using our strengths and weaknesses to find a potential solution to this problem. So I just thought, coming into Cal Poly that I would never even touch the engineering building. So the fact that I was able to work with people that ordinarily I wouldn't was really cool.
Yeah, that's great to hear. There's a lot of cool like interconnectedness and interdisciplinary studies at Cal Poly as well.
Yeah. Also,
Um,
just anyone can ask questions using the question function. So if you have any questions for us, we are happy to answer them, whether they're about housing or just student life in general. This is definitely a good time to speak to a student.
yeah, definitely. And I guess to finish up my story, we just ended up doing a reading about kind of the meat industry and some things that were wrong with it and some issues that were there. Um, but it went beyond just an English class. We actually had like an hour-long discussion about it, and that was something that happened quite often. And actually made me transition to being a vegetarian, which I continue to do now. But it was really the impact of like this GE class that I was just going to go into and kind of take. And I didn't expect much out of it, but kind of changed my life for the better. And I had the same kind of experience in a political science class as well. So um, even though I'm like an architecture student, it's really those other classes that can help build you as a person and educate you as well.
Yeah, I agree. Was it English 145 by chance?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Did you have Dr. Hennessy?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, never mind. Well, I had this did the same kind of thing in my class. We watched like a documentary and talked about it, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
hmm
Well, do you have anything else you wanted to touch on about housing? Anything you've come prepared with?
Sure. We kind of didn't talk about the transfer experience as much, so I'll just give a
Yeah.
little bit of information about it because it's also very important, especially for meeting people on campus and through the apartments for them. So we have Cerro Vista Apartments as well as Poly Canyon Village. So there's going to be four-person single-bedroom apartments. So please check them out if you're a transfer student trying to figure out where you want to live, whether it be off campus, on campus. I highly suggest that you kind of try to go for that on campus experience just because there's going to be a lot more programming for students there and you're in a lot more close contact with your classes and students to kind of make some more friends and meet some more people, which may be tough because, first years kind of come in and know everyone from the start. And so coming in to Cal Poly from that experience might be a little bit challenging at times.
Yeah, that's a great point. We can't ever forget about the transfers. Sometimes things are definitely oriented towards first year students, so it's good to shout them out.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them through. But personally, I really just enjoy living on campus, and I really love it here in SLO. Like the city and the landscape around us is quite beautiful, kind of untouched terrain um, at the beaches and in the countryside. Something that I really enjoyed being from San Diego. It's a little bit of a big contrast, especially whenever I come back and forth between the two. I'm like, oh wow, like that city is like a huge city, and then here it's a little bit more relaxed, and it's a really big college town. The community really like loves us and loves to engage with us as well.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, you feel like as a student here, everything's kind of catered towards you just because there are so many of us. And as a first year, you are not allowed to bring a car, but we still, as freshmen, I was able to explore slow a lot, whether that be through the bus system, going downtown to farmers market, using Zipcar and going to the beach. Ubers, friends with other classmen that could drive us to places. It's definitely a good idea. Sometimes you don't want to feel trapped if you're on campus all the time, so definitely exploring slow in general, going on hikes, walks, anything you can do to kind of just make your college experience more than just about academics.
Definitely. Yeah, and there's things you can do in the residence halls to help that as well. Something I recommend doing is just kind of leaving your door open whenever you're just hanging out inside, and hopefully someone will pop their head in and say hi to you, or you'll say hi to someone else. So during those first couple of weeks, it's really good to branch out and try to go to as many club events as you can, meet as many people as you can as well. And don't be too nervous about it. Everyone's really nervous when they first come here. We're all in the same boat. So if you can try to branch out and put yourself out there for a little bit, I think it'll make you all the better.
Yeah, I agree. Well, if you have nothing else you can think of, I have really enjoyed talking with you today, and hopefully everyone has benefited from this. If you missed it, don't worry. You can watch it on our Instagram TV section of the Cal Poly Admissions Instagram account, and that will be available there, so you can reference anything we've talked about. And it'll also be posted on the Cal Poly Admissions YouTube page, so you can always have access to this if you have any questions. And yeah, good luck everyone, whether you're a continuing student or a first-time student or prospective, whatever you are. I had the best time in the dorms, and it might seem scary, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and if anyone wants any pictures, I'm sorry I couldn't post them here. You can
Yeah,
always check out you can always check out our Instagram as well. We have some little stories there of us actually going into some of the rooms, showing them off. You can also go to the Cal Poly Housing Flickr page. There's a ton of pictures there, in addition to some more tour stuff on our website.
definitely. Well, thank you so much, Clinton. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey there, my name's Rafael. I'm a fourth year journalism transfer student with a minor in Spanish, and my pronouns are he, him, his. Thank you for watching the video. Please share any questions or comments you have down below in the comment section. Click here to subscribe, and to watch more videos, click here. If you want to sign up for a campus visit, we're offering in-person and virtual options, so check out our website. Link in the description. Thank you for watching.